Part 2. High Priest Kwatamani speaks on the misappropriation of sexual energy within and among man, he and she. High Priest Kwatamani, Supreme Soothsayer, Soul Seer, Spiritual Healer and Revealer, Chief Elder of the Kwatamani First Genesis tribe, the oldest, longest sustained, raw and living, plant fuel consuming, family community order known, over half a century, and still going strong.
This presentation, identifying the misappropriation of sexual energies within and among man, he and she, has indeed been an eye-opener for so many.
Never knew searching for love would be such an ordeal. Time to detox, purge and heal and feel supreme love for real.
The need for each other has been so badly twisted, so shape-shifted, most folks missed it.
I mean, we know about the old romantic notions where he looks at she and she looks back at he and she says, "Oh, I'm in love." Having no comprehension of each other except what he or she see physically and making a determination that I'm in love. The program has gone even deeper. They don't even have to look at each other anymore. Can simply text and text whatever he or she feel will attract the other, and they're immediately in love with what? The whole idea of what will come out of a sexual encounter.
Time to get deep into the core to see things one has been taught to ignore.
And what comes out of that sexual encounter? Well, what the eye and I have seen is that babies are born. They're born to mothers who happen to become heads of a household because the man is gone. He's still looking for another fantasy. And this is what's being bred over and over again. So the mother that breeds the son that seeds a female, who then birth another son, has become another generation of degeneration, a step backwards further.
Using his sexuality to feed a fatal disaster, reproducing soul depletion even faster.
There are so many who have said they never ever thought about the situation in the manner in which it has been exposed so far. What that says to I and I is that we actually have done our job, if that's the case. You see, we're not here to be revolutionaries, to inspire conflict, confusion, and chaos so that we can make a violent change. No, because what will happen is it will revolve back to the same point. Again, really and sincerely, you cannot fight fire with fire. We're talking about holistic living truth, whole life resurrection of sexual energies. Therefore, we must come to grips with the fact that we are evolutionaries. We are here to evolve from the point of deterioration, the point of degeneration, the point of mutation, evolve into a point of natural, innate, resurrecting energy within and among man, he and she. To do that would in fact be the greatest blessing that he and she can encounter during these times of earth shift and change. Make no mistake about it. Mother Nature is earth shifting and changing quicker than we can wink our eye. Make no mistake about it. There are so many different toxins in the air that's actually interfering and interrupting with the natural process. You see, the gases are left in the air. And as a result of that, it's toxified the air that actually circulates around her. there's this kind of mindset that thinks about nothing but profit, gain, money, 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 and have no sense of reality with living, no sense of reality with love and respect and gentleness and the absolute duty, obligation, responsibility that we, he and she, have for the next generation, which actually are the carriers of our soul journey movement.
Something wrong, yeah. Green earth soda can bend. Rapping this rap says who knows when.
We must look at things in these modern terms and conditions because the master program has actually groomed and conditioned man, he and she, into a state of ignorancy, constantly putting into their mindset, that was then and this is now. Things are changed. Yet, we know within holistic living reality, ain't nothing changed but the name of the game unless you go through massive and intense detox, purging, and healing. And what is being revealed is that there has been no whole life energy focus on the process and the ability to heal. We must comprehend. If we have a circumstance that manifests over on this side, and we walk over to this side, when we reach here, that same circumstance has simply moved from one location to the other location. The name that occurred over on this location may be different than the name on this location. However, the nature of energy that has transferred from here has now moved over to here. So it can be called the Western transfer of toxic energy. And it has transferred to the Eastern process of toxic energy. But the basic bottom line is toxicity, is the fueling nature of that mental thought and reasoning in action.
It rain, it pour. Time to get deep into the core to see things one has been taught to ignore.
We must kind of take a look at that situation where we were talking about the bull. Imagine this bull is sitting. He's tied, shackled, and chained with steel to some deep-rooted pole that he's unable to move. And he's looking at all those beautiful heifers. I mean, in bull sight, those are some beautiful mamas out there with great potential. And he's pulling to try to get there, but he's unable. So he has to sit and look and stare. Like sometimes when I see young men on the street, they're sitting, they've gathered together, let's say in a gang or in some other kind of masculine collection situation inside of a basketball game or inside of any other situation, any kind of artistic expression, music, all of those things that have been corrupted and disrupted to keep his mind pacified on oblivious nothingness. I did not say those elements that I addressed, i.e. basketball games or this, that, etc., entertainment, were actually placed as a tool of oblivious nothingness per se. I said that they have been geared and designed to keep him in a state of oblivious nothingness. Now, if you think about that bull for a minute, shackled and chained, how would you describe what things going on inside of that bull's mind? It will eventually get him into an insane state of oblivious nothingness. In other words, Mr. Bull comes to realize that he's not really able to do nothing but break his legs stressing and straining, trying to get to one of those heifers. You don't even know what it is, per se, except you know it needs to be fulfilled. You know you got a hard on. You know there's something that says, oh my goodness. But you don't really know what it is. And the longer you've been shackled and chained, feet, hand, and brain, the farther you get away from holistic living reasoning.
Something wrong, yeah.
Those brethren who are on the street feeling limited in one way or the other. The ones who sit as predators. And then those feminists that walk by. He, the masculine, they don't get a new name how they see them and they sing it and everything else. And it has shown a degeneration of the simple factors of a unified bond between man, he and she. It has been divided, conquered, separated, ruled. And now he can't even see she in a holistic living bonding relationship again. He see her as a piece. He see one walking by and say, she's hot, too hot to trot. Hey, baby. And she, let us not forget that other element. She has wants, desires within her as a feminine she. Her body is not just there to walk around and urinate out of. There's some pulling energies within her. It is natural and innate, and actually it's geared and designed to keep us on this planet, to go forward and multiply. So he and she are feeling that massive energy, that attraction to multiply. Come into a oneness for a minute and go. The only thing that happens, nobody is really clear as to what's going on except the bull keepers. A misappropriation of sexual energies. Hear what I'm saying? Nothing is clear anymore between he and she. So she's walking around trying to see honestly, wholeheartedly, and sincerely how she can be had by the right man, somebody who really wants her and who really is going to care, and that she can actually have a relationship with, because she's communal by nature. And he's walking around in whatever the corner or circumstance that he's in with those other brethren, where everybody's feeding the ego of the other and everybody's talking trash and yik-yak and smack and trying to figure out who's going to get the prize. And the prize is brand new at the time. Nobody is able to say, I've been there. Yeah, I've done that. So whoever is first to cash in on his chips waves a flag of conquest for the moment. And that makes him feel high and mighty for that moment of time, not realizing the damage that is being done to that feminine she, who actually have a whole different profile in her mind initially. She's sincerely opening up for the possibility that she's going to be loved. She don't have any idea of what's truly and really going on, and she feels some notion that she has something else that somebody else don't got. Now, the reality is that is being propped up. It's being propped up because as she walk around, she's feeling just like any other sister, and she's kind of insecure. She knows that she put her dress on right and it's fitting really good, and she's been told, girl, you cute, you know, hey, you different than them others, hey, you can get any man you want, and those kinds of things they've told her in her head, and she's just an innocent young feminine she. There's something else going on inside of her being. She's working to gain a sense of comfort with her existence on the planet. She don't really know how vulnerable she is at that particular point in time. She's just taking it step by step. No communal order, no divine guidance or protection, no eldership for the most part. And she's just taking it step by step, walking in the wilderness. She has left the gates of the sacred garden culture presence of her sacred ancestral elders. And now she's walking into the wilderness, blindfolded on holistic living truth, feeling somehow that her body, and not the soulful essence of who she be, because she's lost contact with that her body is going to attract Mr. Goodbar. And it's like, you started in the wrong place, baby. Because if your body attract Mr. Goodbar, soon as that body begin to change its direction via pregnancy or any other circumstance thereof, like a little extra eating because you're satisfied, you're sitting down, or you're frustrated, or you're beginning to feel insecure, so you eat more, or any of the other factors that cause a change. Age, they say, can change, and all those other things. Mr. Goodbar is looking for Miss Goody too. And once Mr. Goodbar starts to look for Mrs. Goody, now you got a problem, and this is the norm. This is what's going on. And out of all of this toxic insanity of conflict, confusion, and chaos, we are expected to resurrect a new breed of mankind with a higher peace conscious state of thought and reasoning and action. Maybe, just maybe, something is wrong. Just maybe. We got the wrong profile. We're on the wrong road. We got the wrong direction. We're falling into the trap that has been laid out by those paper bulls.
Quote, the Dum Divarsis is a papal bull, a special decree by the Pope issued by Pope Nicholas V in 1452. It states, we grant you by these present documents with our apostolic authority full and free permission to invade, search out, capture, and subjugate the Saracens and pagans and any other unbelievers and enemies of Christ, wherever they may be, as well as their kingdoms, duchies, counties, principalities, and other property, and to reduce their persons into perpetual slavery. Page 230. Taken from the prophetic 12,594 year Banu cycle, encoding the consciousness of higher peace through the divine union of masculine and feminine energy, Book 1 by High Priest Kwatamani. Copyright November 11, 2011. 11.
And those requietos.
What was the requiremento? The requirement. Quote, I certify to you that with the help of God, we shall powerfully enter into your country and shall make war against you in all ways and manners that we can, and shall subject you to the yoke and obedience of the church and of their highnesses. We shall take you and your wives and your children and shall make slaves of them, and as such shall sell and dispose of them as their highnesses may command. And we shall take away your goods and shall do you all the mischief and damage that we can as to vassals who do not obey and refuse to receive their lord and resist and contradict him. And we protest that the deaths and losses which shall accrue from this are your fault and not that of their highnesses or ours, nor of these cavaliers who come with us. End of quote. Taken from Exposing the Ice-Cold Deep Freeze Mentality and Whole Life Healing of Sexual Energy Within the Divine Parallel by High Priest Kwatamani, page 42, copyright 2005.
And those other syndromes and all of the other kinds of factors that have been laid out to keep one divided, conquer, separate, and rule under the control of a self-deified bull keepers who do not have any love, care, thanks, praise, and appreciation for this glorious expression of masculine and feminine energy that has been given to us by the most supreme, most high essence of masculine and feminine energy and divine order, so that we can enjoy this blessed expression of life, seen and unseen, a collective oneness, seen and unseen, soul to soul, that has been broken. So we have some work to do. Now this is the problem. When you have work to do, you have to see that there's a problem. I just identified the problem from the point of start to now. In order to be able to work through that problem, you have to first have full acknowledgement that that problem exists. That's very difficult because each person feels that he or she is different. Oh, that's not going to happen to me because I'm smarter than that, because I'm not among those, or whatever circumstance. And every single time, no matter how the person wants to be self-righteous, it proves to be wrong. The reality is, no matter where you fit on the totem pole, no matter how high or how low, you got to deal with the essence of life and supreme love. And if you do not, you're going to be dealing with that other parallel. And as I said, two different natures of energy. One encoded to fuel the soul, the other hell-bent on mind control. And if we can get that clear, once again I say, we have to decide which parallel we wish to devote our living existence to. We are actually not here to convince or to persuade anyone to do anything. We are here to accelerate the evolution of divine spirit conscious thought and reasoning and action within and among man, he, and she. The sacred few of the few of the few of the few of the few will buy into their own sacred ancestral glory and will comprehend that we are from a holistic living oneness. When someone tuned into this first Genesis message, when someone actually tunes into this holistic living way of life, it is very clear to us that it becomes really a strange kind of thing that they're hearing. They want to know, wow, are you all occultists or something? Not realizing that we are the origin, that maybe you are a cultist or something out there. And whatever it is, it ain't got nothing to do with what we need to be doing right now. We need to focus our holistic living energy on resurrecting divine order in order to maintain our existence within this supreme circle of life. There are many, 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 many experiences for us to learn. Many things for us to focus on that are far more important than to spend the entire cycle of our life chasing fantasies, delusions, illusions, and dreamland versions of sexuality misappropriated. Focusing our life energy on worshiping things and stuff and things and stuff, and thinking that that's going to do something to the bitter end when you look sad, empty, lonely, and blue, sitting up inside of your materialistic domain, just as lonely as you can be, feeling like, wow, is this what life is supposed to be? And as so many do, just deciding to yield to that toxic nature of disorder and commit suicide, mentally, physically, spiritually, and in most instances, all of the above. Remember, our focus is life for the living, for giving to the generation next in divine order. So, when we take a look at the challenge that we must face at this particular point in time, we have to begin to comprehend that our primary focus must be to, number one, comprehend what has happened. We cannot ignore or overlook the stud bull concept. We cannot ignore the fact that the stud within and among man, he and she, have in fact been nothing but a replica of that stud bull opposing nature of energy. And when we hear a young male, young son, doesn't matter, sitting and panting, wow, my goodness, realize what kind of psychological damage is going on inside of that young male who do not have clarity on what's going on inside of him that's creating this urge. All he knows is, and he can't figure out what's going on, and he got to sit there and ponder and wonder, and he think that it's all for one purpose only. And so whenever he get the chance to get into that one purpose, it ain't about how much oh, I love you, baby. Anything that would get over at the time. You really love me? Hey, I love you more than anything I can imagine in my life. I can't even think of doing without you. For the moment, that's not said. And then she feel like, I got the magic. And what does she say to her friends? Girl, you need to be careful. You just jealous. He wants me. Want you for what is not even reasoned with. And besides, she done heard all this thing, you know, you a woman. When you a woman, you get a chance to experience a man. And she's a little girl that's grown up to become a young lady, and she has all these ideas that none of it is really clear in her head. And she's expected to get clarity out of osmosis, insanity. So what she do is she submits. I mean, hey, that's what it's for. I mean, it's for more than just peeing. And besides, he loves me. He wants me. And maybe I'll have his baby. And we'll go live together happily ever after in Wonderland.
Did not turn out well after the draws fell in the fairy tale, as happily ever after turned into a heartbreaking disaster.
And then, pow, bang! Next thing you know, it's been another con game. That's tiring. So you have the same situation that was set up by the master overlords when they went out to hire another stud Negro, and they turn him loose on the feminine she that they need to turn him loose on because she's stocky, because she could have a vibrant, strong new breed to become a better worker in that social system that has been established to create a wage and debt system. The only thing, as I've said, the shackles and chains have been removed from the feet and the hand and placed on the brain, but it functions all the same. In some areas you hear, wow, 72% single-family households. And you're not able to see and reason with the fact that the exact same thing that the, quote, Willie Lynch syndrome talked about is still going on?
Quote, take the stud horse, break him for limited containment, completely break the female horse until she becomes very gentle, whereas you or anybody can ride her in her comfort. Breed the mare and the stud until you have the desired offspring. Then you can turn the stud to freedom until you need him again. Train the female horse whereby she will eat out of your hand, and she will in turn train the infant horse to eat out of your hand also. Let us make a slave. We have created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever, unless a phenomenon occurs and reshifts the position of the male and female slaves. End of quote. Page 338. taken from the prophetic 12,594-year Banu cycle, encoding the consciousness of higher peace through the divine union of masculine and feminine energy, Book 1 by High Priest Kwatamani.
Although some tried to tell you, oh, that was just a fantasy story. Huh? That's reality manifesting right before your very eyes. The other things that have been told to you are simply lies. The holistic living truth is that the vibration has been placed to produce studs, to produce offsprings, to serve the opposing nature of energy, and that it works for the benefit of the overlords. And you cannot expect the overlord to dismiss something that is a benefit to his way of life. Like I said, there's a big difference between hunting, herding, warring culture and a sacred garden culture. And we have to decide where we want to be. Divine order, sacred garden culture, from which we come. First Genesis, man, he and she, consuming the fruits of the tree of life, going forward to multiply divine union, masculine and feminine, biologically forwarding the next generation of higher peace conscious thought and reasoning. Or toxic parallel, hell bent on mind control. All those things that I just identified within this telling that lets you know clearly that that is of a whole different nature of energy than divine order. You got sense to reason that, and if you don't, stay where you're at. We're only here to focus on the sacred few who have decided, wow, I never knew that. I didn't know that. I didn't realize how entrapped. I've been a part of that problem. I want a whole life solution here and now, and I'm willing to take the actions necessary to follow the divine guidance and protection of sacred ancestral eldership to move from point A to point B and realize that the basic element that we should be focused on is not point A, point B, but actually that sacred pace, that sacred space, that sacred movement into holistic living reasoning, divine order. That we have to reshape things. It's going to require communal actions. It must be divine, social, economic, family, community actions. Why? Because we must be able to grow our own foods, to learn how to express our creative expressions within and among the nature of energy that we uphold and maintain, to be able to build our own infrastructure to serve and interrelate with the shifting changes that's going on with Mother Earth, to be able to give honor to solar energy and to give honor to the wind and the water and all of the elements that creates a wholesome breath of life. And that's going to require a whole different kind of focus than what's been going on. And if we cannot know that, see that, hear that, if no one brings that to us, then those who have that information has actually created the ultimate sin. And I have no desire to be a part of that. So I'm simply bringing holistic living factors for you to reason with, and then you decide what your pathway will be. And if it is of a certain pathway, i.e. the straight direct path to divine order, you got some massive detox, purging, and healing to do, because you can't move from one point to another and carry the same thing with you. All you've done is transferred it from one side of the fence to the other side of the fence. Same game, different name, played the same. Different name, same game, hoping things gonna change. Doing the same thing over and over again. Insanity within and among those who continue to perpetuate toxic disorder. We cannot expect a new breed when we are actually upholding and maintaining an old, depleted, devitalized state of thought and reasoning and action must detox, must purge. And we must get to the point of healing. We have to be able to look, listen, learn, and discern so that the process of learning the lessons to retrieve the blessings, which will allow us to move into the essence of the divine unit of one, masculine and feminine energy, he and she, tied to the bond of divine social, economic, family, community order, resurrecting the generation next within a conscious state of thought and reasoning and action that glorifies divine order.
His masculine energy fell under a cold, pale spell, not doing too well, refusing to use his ability to take full responsibility for correcting things instead of pointing the finger of blame. Thus, the bond of he and she broke, scattered all that mattered of divine order, allowing the self-deified nature to conquer the soul, gain possession and control. Its will being done to overthrow the soul of the earth, so the sun